Royal St. Christopher and Nevis Police Force and the St. Kitts and Nevis Customs and Excise Department. Now, this is the kicker for me in this story. Apparently, the officers discovered the cannabis concealed inside a barrel. So that's quite interesting how they discovered it. The operation was conducted on January 12, 2022. 2 individuals have been charged in relation to the find, and they are Janald O'Dane of Pine Garden, Shadwell, and Charlene Halliday of Walwyn Street, Bastyr. They've been charged for the offenses of possession of cannabis with intent to supply. So apparently barrels are not only used to,
deliver Christmas food,
deliver things that are not contraband, but good job for law enforcement there taking that off the street. What's next?
And we're going to continue with the our last local story. Dean Fleming, now Bishop-elect for DNECA, and this is from the Nevis pages. News has been received that Dean Ernest Fleming, originally of Barnesgut in Nevis, has been elevated to the position of Bishop-elect for the Diocese of the Northeastern Caribbean and Aruba, DNECA. Some of the former parishioners in Nevis have used Facebook postings to congratulate him. Dean Fleming, today you are the top of the Anglican community in the DNECA, and I offer you earnest and heartiest congratulations. On your newest position, I know that you will do your best and make all of us proud. You have history here in Nevis. Now know that as a prophet you have found honor. I've always admired him, a true role model and a stalwart for his community. He's now Bishop-elect of the Northeastern Caribbean and Aruba segment, and congratulations. And these were just some of the reviews, some of the posts congratulating him on his new election. So excellent news from Nevis.
A great way to end the local news for this edition of The Latest. We'll be back with more in a flash. Stay tuned.
When growing your savings, where you save matters more than you think. Dare to compare and see for yourself why you should start saving and investing at First Federal Credit Union. You don't have to settle for cents. Let your money make sense. Reap a higher return by stashing your cash in a high-yield savings account or term deposit and earn up to 4% interest on your money. At First Federal, we say yes.
No cash, no card, no problem. Dad, embrace the freedom.
Welcome back to Good Morning SKN. We are continuing with the latest, and here now is the latest in regional news. This one coming from Jamaica. This story gets me really excited because I'm remembering a movie that I saw. Now, you at home have no idea what I'm talking about, so I'll get right to the story. The Jamaican bobsled team is heading to the Beijing Olympics, and this news comes from the Jamaica Observer. The Jamaica bobsled team has secured their spot in the 2022 Beijing Winter Olympics. This will be the first time that Jamaica has qualified in 3 Olympic bobsled events, so record-breaking there. These events are the 4-man, 2-man, and women's monobob. It will also be the first time in 24 years that Jamaica's 4-man bobsled team will participate in the Winter Olympic Games. So that's even another record. Jamaica grabbed the final spot in the 28 sled field in qualification for the Beijing Games based on international results this season. However, it missed a 2-woman spot on the tiebreaker, but can get in as a first alternate if one qualified nation gives up a spot. Now, while Jamaica hasn't announced its Olympic roster yet, Shan Wayne Stevens is expected to pilot the four-man sled. Rolanda Reed, Ashley Watson, and Matthew Wepke have been push athletes in all four of Stevens' four-man races this season, with a top finish of 5th on the lower level North American Cup. Now, I said that this actually reminds me of the movie because we all know about the movie Cool Runnings, or at least we should. I think it was in 1998, if I'm not mistaken. Subject to correction there, but that was a Disney movie based on the Jamaica bobsled team. So this just gets me really excited. Good energy going into the Beijing Olympics. Jamaica, we wish you all the best.
I'm always so surprised about Jamaicans doing bobsledding, like bobsledding in the Caribbean. And I really see the two going hand in hand. So it's always impressive and exciting and weird to me all at once. And we're going to get right to the last story. And in our international news, overseas, Tongans wait anxiously for news after volcanic eruption. And this is news from Al Jazeera. Overseas Tongans are waiting anxiously for news of loved ones after a powerful volcanic eruption and tsunami severed communications with the kingdom in the southwestern Pacific Ocean. Concerns among the 85,000 strong Tongan community in New Zealand were heightened on Monday by news it could be 2 weeks before communications are restored following the eruption of the Hunga Tonga Hanoi Hubai on Saturday. Besides leaving people in the dark about the fate of their loved ones, and the lack of internet threatens Tongans reliant on money transfers from relatives overseas. I think the worst part of the blackout is the fact that we know nothing, said Filippo Matulo, a New Zealand-based journalist with Pacific Media Network. There's no communication at all, he added. So, I mean, I think last year we had a few stories about volcanic eruptions, and it's always pretty scary. We had one here in the Caribbean. So, I mean, it just lets us know we have to always be on the alert. We need to be prepared. We need to have plans set in place because we never know when that might happen.
Yeah, and unfortunately, even if you have plans, sometimes they just don't work.
True.
There's a lot.
And we're hoping that communication comes back to that area as soon as possible. It's really scary not knowing what's going on with your loved ones.
Absolutely. Well, sending our love to you guys in Tonga if you happen to watch this when communications are restored. For now, this brings us to the end of the latest. We will be back. Tongue twister here after Hunga Tonga.
Yes.
Yeah, okay. So tongue twister, definitely. But we will be back with the latest in a moment. Stay tuned, everyone.
Next, please.
Good morning, Mommy. How are we today?
We are okay. I brought in Bobby to get her first HPV vaccine to secure her from this cancer-causing menace. I'm just trying to make sure my girls have a chance at enjoying life, you know?
You look unsure about something. Are you okay?
I'm a little nervous. My boyfriend found a lump here the other day, and now I'm freaking out.
I understand how you feel, but let's take.
If that's the case, I would have done it twice, right?
A pap smear is an examination of your vagina and the pelvis area. It should be done for females between the ages 18 to 69 at least once a year. The World Health Organization recommends that the doctor or nurse that is doing the examination remove the cells from the cervix and check for any abnormal cells, cancer, and the human papillomavirus, which causes cervical cancer. If females get regular tests, anything unusual or abnormal can be treated and seen in its early stages. The girls are being vaccinated before age 13 to reduce the risk of getting cervical cancer. Women tested early and girls vaccinated can help us end cervical cancer. Don't be afraid. It's a simple examination which will be over very soon. Come on, let's get you tested.
No cash, no card, no problem. Dad, embrace the freedom.
When growing your savings, where you save matters more than you think. Dare to compare and see for yourself why you should start saving and investing at First Federal Credit Union. You don't have to settle for cents. Let your money make sense. Reap a higher return by stashing your cash in a high-yield savings account or term deposit and earn up to 4% interest on your money. At First Federal, we say yes.
No cash, no card, no problem. Dad, embrace. No cash, no card, no problem. Dad, embrace the freedom.
Next, please.
Good morning, Mommy. How are we today?
We are okay. I brought in Bobby to get her first HPV vaccine to secure her from this cancer-causing menace. I'm just trying to make sure my girls have a chance at enjoying life, you know?
You look unsure about something. Are you okay?
I'm a little nervous. My boyfriend found a lump here the other day, and now I'm freaking out.
I understand how you feel, but let's take care of Bobby first. First, let me explain about this vaccine, the HPV vaccine. The HPV vaccine protects both boys and girls. This vaccine can prevent most cases of cervical cancer and some cases of sexually transmitted infections. Mommy, that's it for Bobby. Can we talk privately for a few minutes? It's really good that you told me about your boyfriend finding the lump. I'm glad that you weren't too scared. Mommy, when was the last checkup? I mean, which includes your breast examination and the pap smear.
Honestly, I don't know anything about pap smears. Is that something you do during childbirth? Because if that's the case, I would have done it twice, right?
A pap smear is an examination of your vagina and pelvis area. It should be done for females between the ages 18 to 69 at least once a year. The World Health Organization recommends that the doctor or nurse that is doing the examination remove the cells from the cervix and check for any abnormal cells, cancer, and the human papillomavirus, which causes cervical cancer. If females get regular tests, anything unusual or abnormal can be treated and seen in its early stages. The girls are being vaccinated before age 13 to reduce the risk of getting cervical cancer. Women tested early and girls vaccinated can help us end cervical cancer. Don't be afraid. It's a simple examination which will be over very soon. Come on, let's get you tested.
And we're back on Good Morning SKN, and we're at our first feature, and I'm very excited because this person and myself are very close. She's a very good friend of mine, but let's get into it. When considering a career, we are often asked, what are you passionate about? What do you enjoy doing? Just choose that one thing as the main path, and you can dedicate yourself for the rest of your life. This is a challenge for many because we all enjoy doing more than just one thing. There are many different fields that we would love to pursue. Ozan Martin is one such person who has several passions that I'm not even going to say good, she's excellent at. She's a trademark attorney by profession. She offers empowering counsel and powerful legal strategies to entertainers and athletes in this capacity. She's also the co leader of the four-peat band of the year, Ultra Carnival, the band that promises an intimate and unforgettable first class, all inclusive mass experience. We have heard the reviews and they never disappoint. She's also the owner of Glittering Rain Pageant Coaching and Counseling Agency. Her most recent client is the reigning Sugar Mass 50 National Carnival Queen, Miss Nikira Nichols. So I think that was a mouthful. And there's much more to her. Please join us as we welcome the multi-potentiality Miss Ozel Martin to Good Morning SKN. Hi, Ozel.
Hi.
Hi, Mimi. Hi, how are you? Good morning.
Good morning. It's great to see you.
Good to see you as well.
So you are actively involved in all of these different fields. Let's tackle them one at a time. First, what interested you in law?
Um, hmm. I always had a love for the law. I just always found the law intriguing. It really was about finding which area of law was going to be of most interest to me. And because I really loved marketing and branding from the creative side, I knew that I would also like it from the legal side. And that's why I dived into intellectual property law.
Mm.
Well, speaking of intellectual property law, you hold a doctorate degree in intellectual property law. So congratulations for that. The
Thank you.
question that I have in relation to that is, where do you find the time to devote to your educational pursuits amid everything else that you've done?
Well, I guess my educational pursuits are over because I graduated like 7 years ago. But where do I find the time? I guess I know that I want to do it. And so it's really about managing your time, waking up early, and sometimes
Going to
being up
bed
late
very late.
to get everything that you want to do. Um, when you're passionate about so many things, I feel like we have one life. We shouldn't feel confined to one particular task or even a particular career. Like I know some people who are like both a doctor and a lawyer, you know what I mean? Like they have a JD and an MD. So you should never feel confined to like one particular task. Whatever you want to do, you go ahead and pursue it there. Everybody says there are 24 hours in a day. There is more than enough time and you can still get ample amount of rest.
Right. So, I mean, as a lawyer, an aspiring lawyer, I mean, when you were in school, did you face any challenges coming from a small island?
Well, yes. People have this saying that links run things.
Yes, and
Coming
they
from
do.
small, not having my family or immediate family in the United States, I felt as if I had to do everything on my own, put myself out there because I did not have anyone to connect me to anyone, just form my own connections. And that's fine. I don't feel entitled like anybody needs to do that for me. But it was just that much harder because you didn't have those pre-made connections that was fostered by like a family member or a friend. I didn't even have a mentor. And so that is why it's so important for me to even mentor prospective, in particular, Black women attorneys, because I know how difficult it was when you did not have a mentor. You didn't have someone to show you the ropes, to help you navigate a profession that is dominated by, let's be real, white men and women. Black women only make up about 1.73%. That is 1.73% of all attorneys in the United States. So we are grossly outnumbered. So again, that's another uphill battle.
Mm. So can you tell us, like, what exactly is a trademark attorney?
A trademark attorney is an attorney that prosecutes, enforces, and protects trademarks. What does the prosecution of trademarks mean? It's not really similar to criminal prosecution. It is more so ensuring that a trademark that is selected by a client is distinctive and also available for use. And that might sound easy, but we have what you call the spectrum of distinctiveness to ensure that a trademark even qualifies for use. We want to make sure that it is unique and distinctive. And so that's basically what a trademark attorney does: enforces, prosecutes, and protects trademarks. And of course, a trademark is a brand's unique identifier. So any way in which you can identify a brand in the marketplace, for example, when you see the Nike check symbol, or you see the logo, which is the logo, sorry, or you see the brand name, any way in which you can identify a brand in the marketplace, that's their trademark.
All right, so let's talk briefly about Essence Magazine and
Yes.
the legal issue that concerned Michael B. Jordan naming his rum Juve. Can you explain the matter?
Okay, so Michael B. Jordan named his rum Juve. From a U.S. law standpoint, there is nothing that prevents him from doing that, because obviously it met the requirements for distinctiveness, and it was available for use in connection with a rum brand. However, Caribbean people felt as if he was misappropriating the name because he's not from the Caribbean. And while yeah, maybe I could see why it would be controversial, and it's so important to have an attorney with a holistic viewpoint on your team, because while certain trademarks may be legally permissible, there may be some issues ethically. And I think that's what happened in his case. Now, recently I followed up on the trademark application, and I'm still wondering if the application was even connected with him, because he made a public relations a statement he issued a statement on his social media channels and also through his attorney, where he said he was abandoning the name Juve for the brand, but the trademark is still alive, and whoever filed the trademark is still trying to keep it alive.
Very interesting.
Very interesting.
I'm certain we'll check back in with you as you follow up with that.
Yeah.
I thought it was a really good name. I mean, I understood the Caribbean people's feelings towards the word, but I thought it was a good name. Anyways, we'll see how that goes. I also
mentioned the importance of Caribbean or West Indian Americans in being proactive in protecting their brands as well, because we have so many Juve formative brands in the United States that are unprotected. And so why would we be so reactive? No, that someone else did it. Sorry. So I think it's so important for us as West Indian Americans to also be proactive in the protections of our brands that are based in the United States.
Very correct. So forgive me, as I speak to you now, I want to turn the page a little bit, talking about Ultra Carnival. And obviously congratulating you on being the co-leader of the Fort Pete Band.
Thank you.
So let's go back a little bit to your interest, not only in Carnival, because you're Caribbean, obviously, so that goes without saying, but how did you become involved enough to go and create a mass band?
Right. So the mass band is the brainchild of my friend and I, Natasha Berridge. And yes, initially, We wanted to play maths and English, but we felt as if the experience that we wanted was quite there as yet. So it was really about being the change that you wanted to see. And we knew that other persons wanted the same experience that we were going to present, which would involve like presenting bodysuits for all body types. And even if it's not for body types, for just whatever you feel like wearing. Like if you don't want to have a two-piece on, you shouldn't be forced to, because that's all that's available. So we wanted to also create a band that was inclusive. And so, as I said, we were just trying to be the change that we wanted to see.
Well, congratulations on that, because not only are you the change, you are definitely seen. Visibility, Ultra. I think everyone knows that name.
Thank you.
All right, so we're delving into now your ownership of the Glittering Rain pageant coaching and consulting agency. And again,
Yes.
the basic question here is, where did your interest come from and what motivated you to take it to that level?
Right. You know, I've been exposed to pageantry since I was a child. My mother and my aunt were pageant coaches. And I always had the eye for detail, even as a child. Things that they won't see, I would be like, hey, did you see this? And I realized that they valued my opinion. Regardless of if I was 7 or 8, my opinions were never disregarded. So because I was always empowered, from that standpoint by my mother and my aunt. And eventually I got really passionate about it because just in general, I'm passionate about the performing arts. I liked certain things like speech writing. I love fashion. And so even as a child, it was like an incentive for finishing my homework on time and with great accuracy. Once I was able to finish my homework on time, I knew that I would be able to accompany my mother to pageant practice. And it was just I don't have a fancy story of how I fell in love. I just think it was like natural affinity.
I have to say, Mimi mentioned your success. Mimi is an example of that as well. So.
I mean, I know what it involves, but can you tell the audience what coaching it involves? Because I don't think that people have a holistic and realistic idea of what pageant coaching or pageantry, it
involves. Transcends just the selection of a beautiful gown and swimsuit. I really take like a holistic approach to coaching, starting with training the mind, because I believe in order for you to win, you have to think like a winner. So sometimes it involves eliminating certain words from your vocabulary. And a lot of times you might be stretched beyond your physical and mental limits, and you might think you can't. So even just saying, well, I can. And even though it might sound like a small change, it's very powerful and it goes such a long way. You're developing your mind, body, and soul in order to prepare yourself, not only to win the pageant, but just to win the journey. Ensure that you're coming out on the other side a completely reformed and evolved person, mind, body, and soul. You're more disciplined. You master the art of being on time and why it is important to be on time. Not just so you don't miss anything, but also it's about respect for people's time as well, especially if you're meeting with someone. The elegance that you see going on stage, make sure that you carry it through life. It just doesn't begin and end with a performance. We want to ensure that we're transforming young ladies and they get much more out of it than just the glamorous side of pageantry.
And it's also a lot of work.
It is a lot of
Before this year, I'm made to understand that you attempted to retire from coaching, and yet you coached Nikira Nichols, who went on to win the competition. She is our reigning queen. Yes. Is this the last queen or the last contestant that we will see having been coached by Ozell Martin?
Well, I've attempted retirement several times. But somehow whenever I was Nikira's former dance teacher as well. And so sometimes I have a soft spot for my former dancers. Sometimes I just want to get back into the bullring because I don't know, sometimes it could give you a rush too. I lost that type of rush, I guess, because there's a lot going on as well. As an attorney, as also co-founder of Ultra, and just a few other projects I want to do on my own. But I never say never, because you just, I play year to year, but she did bring me out of retirement.
She did.
A retirement several times, as I said.
So how anyone would imagine that, law and carnival and pageantry are pretty different, like they're not related at all, but are they connected in your mind in any way?
I can find relations. I think the law is related to everything, right? That's how I think. I think that because I know that even when I was on the creative side of branding, we had to take our campaigns to an intellectual property lawyer for review and clearance before publishing, right? And even when we were preparing for the interview segment, even when we were touching on the topic, the legalization of cannabis, for example, or the implementation of certain laws regarding censorship on social media, the law came up several times. Vaccine hesitancy and whether or not vaccine mandates are constitutional, right? So the law was enmeshed in pageant prep as well, right? Interview questions, the law comes up. They have to sign a contract, right? The carnival committee might tell you that I took a while to review my contract. I wanted to, and I even probably was the only coach that asked for a certain clause to be amended. Because I believe every contract is negotiable, and I just don't sign a contract like that. I want to ensure that it favors both sides. So I think the law comes up everywhere, and it's related to everything. Even in Ultra, all of our contractors, they have to sign contracts as well, our designers. So I'm drafting contracts for that. I'm also ensuring that before we put music out, it's cleared. We use Marshall Montana Showtime for our Showtime theme. I wrote to the team and got copyright clearance to use the song. I didn't just want to use it.
So I can tell that you're very passionate and you're very thorough.
Yes.
Legally,
yes, I didn't want
everything.
to use it like that. So I wrote to his team, got clearance for the song. So the law manifests in everything. And so everybody thinks, oh, this song related. No, it's related.
Absolutely, Ozell. Well, it has been a pleasure talking with you this morning. Thank you for taking the time. I know that Mimi is dying to say goodbye to you because she knows you personally. So I will let her bid you adieu. But I do want to thank you again for such an engaging conversation, and I want to wish you all the best in all of your endeavors.
Thank you, and thank you for having me, and best of luck with everything. It's an amazing show.
Thank you very much. Bye-bye. More Good Morning SKN in a moment. Stay tuned.
I'm here to say kids, Nevis, with a name for us I represent for the Ministry of Health. Yeah. Respect the COVID protocols. In a time like this, all for one for all. St. Kitts Nevis. Don't forget your mask. Wear it everywhere you go. Sanitize before and after everything you do. Cause you never know what's on the surface or the places you go. Maintain a safe social distance between me and you. Keep calm and stay focused. Don't be a fool, seek the fast first and boost your immune system up. Don't wanna lose no more of us. Mass up furlough, sanitize, observe the protocols all about. Be wise, mass up furlough, sanitize. Me family fitting boat and you. Blessed love and greetings. This is Infamous, and I am here to encourage every Kittian and Nivision to remember that we have our part to play in the fight against COVID-19. So sanitize, wear your face mask, practice social distancing, and go and get vaccinated. For me no know about you, but me love think it's bad. Easy no man.
When growing your savings, where you save matters more than you think. Dare to compare and see for yourself why you should start saving and investing at First Federal Credit Union. You don't have to settle for cents. Let your money make sense. Reap a higher return by stashing your cash in a high-yield savings account or term deposit and earn up to 4% interest on your money. At First Federal, we say yes.
No cash, no card, no problem. Dad, embrace the freedom.
Welcome back to Good Morning SKN. So have you ever heard of the word sonder? If not, it's the realization that each random passerby is living a life as vivid and complex as your own. Yet, have you ever wondered what it would be like to experience life from someone else's perspective? What would it be like to feel the emotions, to have interactions, to engage our senses from different vantage points? A significant part of our life experience is our senses. For many of us, it is difficult to imagine the life experience of the differently abled. Our next guest is Rockcliffe Bowen, and he will help to give us a sense of a glimpse into how he and other visually impaired persons navigate the world around us. Welcome, Mr. Bowen. Thank you for joining us on Good Morning SKN.
Good morning.
Thank you. Thank you. Good morning, and thank you for having me on your programs this morning.
All right, so in seeing you this morning, sir, you're quite a familiar sight to me. I have seen you for many years navigating Bastier, navigating challengers, etc. My first question to you is, when did you begin this journey as someone who is visually impaired?
Well, I lost my sight at age 11.
Wow.
Unfortunately, I was a primary school student, and well, I born with a visually impaired sight, and then as time goes on, it gradually, my sight started to fade, and eventually I went totally blind at age 11. I was about to sit common entrance. Well, I must say I'm Guyanese born. I was born in the Republic of Guyana, and I was about to sit common entrance when, unfortunately, my mother was summoned to the school, and she was told that, I had to be discharged from the school, which was very painful for me, because I had always wanted to, get a very good education, because my thing was, exactly what you're doing here. I had always wanted to become a journalist.
Wow.
From a tender age. And because of that, it really, all my plans, was dashed because, after that happened, I sat myself down and I said, oh my God, I wouldn't be able to be a journalist anymore. I wouldn't be able to see, to read, and different stuff. And it was very painful for me, despite the encouragement, from my parents and my, other siblings, my brothers and sisters. It was very painful, but thank God I was able to, overcome it as years, goes on.
Yes. There obviously were adjustments that you had to make. And in speaking to navigating the world around you, do you often use guides to get around?
Yes, I have a cane, which I would know, but at home, in my home, and at work, I work down at the Magnet Community Center. I don't use a cane in the building of itself. And in my home, I do not use my cane. I use my cane when I am, in the streets. When I'm on the streets in Bastille, going to transact, my business, from point A to point B, I would have to use my cane because the cane is very important. The cane, it normally would pick up obstacles, that confronts you, on a daily basis. Sometimes, like for instance, when you get to the edge of a sidewalk, the cane will be able to tell you, well, okay, you got to be going down, and then you have to feel, because some of the sidewalks, they have steps, sometimes 2-3 steps. Like for instance, College Street. Sometimes the vendors on the sidewalks. Sometimes you walk in and the cane that it able to pick up. Like if there's a bench or a table. Very, very, very important.
But does someone help you navigate in Boston?
Yes. When I first came to St. Kitts, I had a little cousin-in-law. Sorry, he's deceased now. He used to take me around town, and he would teach me. He said, "Well, this is this street name this street name that." Even though I wasn't so familiar because I didn't born here. And then he would tell me, we are going now by the post office, we are going by the bank, and he greatly assisted me a lot. And through my own, creative ways, I was able to, navigate, Bastille well. And now, as people would see me going from point A to point B in Bastille, they commend me a lot. They said, well, my people who know I didn't born in St. Kitts, they said, I mean, it is amazing, you didn't born in this country and you're walking so freely, yeah, right. So, I must thank him, and I have to give myself credit also, and the Almighty, because without him, we cannot do any certain things without, the Almighty. And, now, I can access any part of Bastille, I can go any part of St. Kitts, I can jump on a bus, I can go to Debay, I can go to Saddlers, I can go to Sandy Point and get myself around once I have my cane.
Wow, that's
and
very
not
impressive.
forgetting, yes, not forgetting the several people, folks, as they see you walking the streets, they would help you along the way. There's always somebody who would see you and said, well, sir, where you would like to go to, and they would assist you. And I am very, very thankful for that.
Do you use any technology that would perhaps help you to hear things that you cannot see? Perhaps audio tools or anything of that nature?
Well, like for instance, cannot see to read, right? Right now I have a talking Bible, which is very helpful for me. I just have, it's just by, the touch of a button, and then, it would take me from chapter to chapter, I also I'm using these touchscreen phones. I am not too good at it. As a matter of fact, I only can access the WhatsApp, right? But what I am trying to do is to get somebody to assist me in programming my phone so that I can use my phone, because too many times, I have to be dependent on somebody sighted, to help me, right? Now, if my phone was so equipped, right, in terms of the different features, where technology is concerned, I would have been able to sit down here this morning and access you guys, all by myself. Because I have 9 friends in the Caribbean who normally would use their phone without the help of any sighted person. Like I have a friend in Guyana. We communicate a lot. Our phone is programmed in such a way is that, or it helps her to really know who is calling her by way of in terms caller ID and ringtone in one. Now, if I call her phone, it would mention my name. It would say
I see.
Rockcliffe, 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 Rockcliffe until she answers. So even so she missed that call, before she get to the phone, she would know it's Rockcliffe was trying to get her. And that is how I want my phone, to be, so that I can, I don't want to be always calling upon people to assist me,
But I still find that you're very independent. The mere fact that you could get around to any place in St. Kitts on your own, that in and of itself is very impressive.
Yes.
But what, for instance, if you're going grocery shopping, how do you manage that alone, or do you need help for that activity?
In the supermarkets?
Yes.
Yeah. Okay. When we go into the supermarkets, the folks in the supermarket, somebody is always there. They would come, even if it's myself or my wife, because for the benefit of our listeners and viewers, my wife, she's also blind.
Wow.
Yes, she's also blind. We would they would come to our rescue and they would say, well, okay, Mr. Boyne or Mrs. Boyne, can I help you? And then we would say, well, okay. They would get a list and we would, they would sit down there and say, okay, what you would like to access in the supermarket. I would say, okay, I would like to get 3 packs of macaroni, 2 tins of salt, and they would take that list and they would go around, pick up the stuff, and then they would take us to the cashier. And sometimes they even take us to the bus terminal, which is very good.
So do you find people in the community to be very helpful?
Yes, I am living in Challengers Village, and my neighbors, they are very, 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 very helpful, super helpful. Me and my wife, we cannot complain. We would get folks who would come and check on us and say, well, okay, you guys, you all have garbage to throw away, whatever whatever it is. Sometimes when my wife clean up our meat, we would have folks would come and they would check it to see if the meat is cleaned properly. I cannot complain. Very, 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 very helpful.
I love that sense of community.
But Mr. Bowen,
apart from that,
yes, go ahead, please, sir.
Apart from that, we don't always want to be dependent on people. Sometimes, we use our own judgment. You understand? And we would say, well, okay, I'm going to clean up this meat, and I'm going to season it up and everything. And we always want to be
independent,
helpful to ourselves, not only to be dependent on people, because sometimes people don't always be around, to assist. So
Absolutely.
You cannot sit down and relax and depend on, well, I'm, Mrs. Daniels to come and, help us, you understand, or, Mr. Morris to come and help us. We always, try to be helpful to ourselves.
Mr. Bowen, in our final moments, I do want to mention that you are the president of the Society for the Blind in the Federation. And I want to invite you to share a bit about your association very briefly.
Yes, I am the president of the St. Kitts Society for the Blind. The St. Kitts Society for the Blind is a non-governmental, non-profit organization, and we are affiliated to the Caribbean Council for the Blind, which is based in St. John's, Antigua. We operate from the McKnight Community Center. We was given a room at the McKnight Community Center where we were able to conduct our meetings and other functions. And we have a membership of about 25 to 30 active members. Our membership is much larger, but we have about 25 to 30 active members. We meet every second Monday of each month. But because of COVID-19, it's over a year now. We were not able to have any meetings, but we have been communicating with one another. You know, we have been touching base with our members, you know, letting them know, well, you know, the organization is still well and alive, you know, because we feel the organization was founded in 1982 on the 18th of October. And the reason why the organization was founded is to make sure that blind and visually impaired person, you know, don't sit down at home feeling sorry for themselves. It was formed for them to assist them, you know, to rehabilitate them, you know,
Right.
where they can go to get jobs, you know, where they can go out and work, you know, earn something for themselves. Because our motto is not to have people going and sitting down by the bus terminal or by the ferry terminal and beg. That, you know, we you know, I mean, we don't have control over everybody's life, but we want to make sure that persons who are blind and visually impaired are independent. They can fend for themselves, and that is what some of us has been doing. You know, I can use myself as an example. I work at Lutheran. You know, there was a factory up at the industrial site. I worked at Lutheran for some 23 years.
Wow.
Until Lutheran closed in 2019. My
Well,
wife,
sir,
she retired. Yeah.
I do have to
Pardon
say,
me?
you are a living example of what it is to face life, to take life by the horns, and live to the
Yeah.
best of your ability. I do wish that we had more time to speak with you, but certainly I'm hoping this is not our final conversation. Thank you for
Right.
all
So
of your
because I would like
work.
to share some more next time, you know, you can call upon me at any time. I am willing to share, you know, whatever ideas, you know, I have in mind, you know, to talk more about the association and of our members. And I must say, I want to say thanks to Mrs. Daniel Blake and yourself, Mr. Morris, for having me on this morning. I think it was a pleasure. And, you know, thank you very much.
It was a pleasure having you.
Thank you,
Thank you so
sir.
much.
You're watching Good
Okay.
Morning SKN. We'll be back for more in a moment.
You're watching Good Morning SKN with Mimi Armstrong and Jamie Morris, live on Studio 327.
So, nurse, what now?
Let me explain. I'm going to put your feet in these 2-meter stands called stirrups. Your legs will be open, then I will insert my fingers into your vagina and make a check. After that, I'll insert this. When that is inside of you and open up, I can see your cervix better. Then I will use these other devices to help me remove the cells from your cervix and check for the cancer and the HPV. Just relax. It will be over very soon.
Nurse, that wasn't so bad. I thought it would have been very painful.
I am glad your first experience was a good one.
So, when will I get the results?
The results usually return in 3 weeks. You have to come back here to the health center and I will explain. If there's anything abnormal, I will make a referral to your gynecologist.
Okay. Can I get the HPV vaccine my daughter got?
No, I'm sorry, you cannot. The World Health Organization and Pan American Health Organization did a lot of research and found out after persons are sexually active, the vaccine doesn't work as well.
So what's the best way to prevent me from dying from this HPV?
Just what you did this morning. Early and yearly screening for the HPV virus and checking for changes in the cervix with the Pap test.
How do they know they're not sick?
I know, it's really sad. In 2014, 1 in 4 women in St. Kitts and Nevis were tested positive for one high-risk type of HPV. And in the last 10 years, the number of women with cervical cancer has increased.
See what I mean? But it's good that you could get the Pap test, the HPV vaccine, and the breast checks all at the same time.
Yes, share what you've learned with your family and friends. We in the Ministry of Health are encouraging women to come and have these tests done every year because cervical cancer can be effectively treated if detected and diagnosed early. So let's both do our part. It's time to end cervical cancer.
When growing your savings, where you save matters more than you think. Dare to compare and see for yourself why you should start saving and investing at First Federal Credit Union. You don't have to settle for cents. Let your money make sense. Reap a higher return by stashing your cash in a high-yield savings account or term deposit and earn up to 4% interest on your money. At First Federal, we say yes.
No cash, no card, no problem. Dad, embrace the freedom.
And we're back on Good Morning SKN, and it's time to loosen up, Jamie. It's time to loosen up. And we're going to be talking a little bit about pollution. So since the 19th century, pollution has been a result of humanity's negligence, unfortunately. It has drastically disrupted the natural environment. Today, we have two young people who are going to school us about the types of pollutants. Before we do that, though, we're going to set the stage. What's the first thing you think about when you hear the word pollution? Is pollution something that only happens in big countries?
First thing I think about when I hear pollution is Captain Planet. Those of you who are old enough to remember the animated series Captain Planet would know that Captain Planet was a superhero fighting pollutants or pollution in general.
You're aging us dramatically by bringing up that cartoon. But yes, I do remember Captain Planet. I wish it was that easy, though.
Yeah.
It takes a lot of responsibility. When I think about pollution, I think about those big factories with the smoke going up into the environment. Yeah, that's what I think when I hear pollution. Smog, that sort of thing.
Yeah, and that's the thing, because I guess we think of it on a grand scale and we don't necessarily realize that it could be as simple as leaving a plastic bag on the beach.
Right, leaving a plastic cup,
Throwing
throwing it out of your window.
The window, as I was
Right.
going to say.
And I mean, it even lends itself to the other question where we asked if only big countries, help to pollute the environment, and it really sometimes comes down to individuals and our responsibility.
Pollution is everywhere. I know that in our region, we tend to think that we are the dumping ground of a lot of larger countries. I know, generally speaking,
is also true.
Depending on how the sea, the currents go,
Right.
we have seen a lot of countries. I think more so in the Pacific, though, where you see trash going on the beaches. It's just ridiculous what happens sometimes. So no, it's not something that just affects big countries. It affects everybody.
I didn't watch the Netflix documentary, but I've heard people who spoke about it. It's called Seaspiracy, I think, and it's about the ocean. And what was really interesting that a lot of the pollution is in the ocean, part one. Like they're massive, big like islands of pollution.
Yeah.
And a lot of the pollution in the sea is actually like fishing equipment, ropes, wires. Yeah.
You're reminding me of something because I forgot what it was. I don't know if it was Chasing Coral. It was another documentary, not Chasing Coral. But I saw that sometimes the layers that you're seeing of pollution in the sea, it's somewhat invisible to the naked eye. And then that ends up being ingested by fish that we consume. So plastics and things that don't decompose very easily. So think about that.
Or do not decompose at all.
Well, there you go.
We can talk about that a whole day.
So we've loosened up.
I feel very tired by today.
And now we're going to wrap up. Loosen up. We'll be back in a moment to continue with Good Morning SKN. So don't touch your dial. Stay tuned.
When growing your savings, where you save matters more than you think. Dare to compare and see for yourself why you should start saving and investing at First Federal Credit Union. You don't have to settle for cents. Let your money make sense. Reap a higher return by stashing your cash in a high-yield savings account or term deposit and earn up to 4% interest on your money. At First Federal, we say yes.
No cash, no card, no problem. Dad, embrace the freedom.
When growing your savings, where you save matters more than you think. Dare to compare and see for yourself why you should start saving and investing at First Federal Credit Union. You don't have to settle for cents. Let your money make sense. Reap a higher return by stashing your cash in a high-yield savings account or term deposit and earn up to 4% interest on your money. At First Federal, we say yes.
No cash, no card, no problem. Dad, embrace the freedom.
So you mentioned something about a lump.
Babe, I just felt something on the left side of your breast. Tell me if you feel it.
Do you do your self-breast examinations monthly?
No, I don't.
Well, women are supposed to examine their breasts once monthly. Let me show you how. When at home, you can check while standing in the shower or while lying down. Simply place a pillow under your right shoulder and your right arm behind your head. Using your left hand, move the pads of your fingers around your right breast, gently covering the entire breast area and armpit. Use light, medium, and firm pressure. Squeeze the nipple and check for discharge and lumps. I did find a lump in the upper left breast. I am not sure what this means. Therefore, I need to refer you to the DMO or you can see your private physician. The doctor is going to examine you and recommend an ultrasound or a mammogram. Listen, not every lump is cancer. 80 to 85% of the time, the lumps found are benign. That means they are non-cancerous. Lumps in the female breast or armpit can be non-cancerous tissue growth or fluid buildup, or a number of things that can present themselves at various times. But sometimes it's a sign of cancer. That is why I am referring you to see the doctor.
Okay, nurse. Thanks for your help.
You are watching Good Morning SKN, and we have an interesting interview lined up. So our air is becoming less fit to breathe due to industrial exhaust, as Mimi and I were just talking about. Our water is becoming the source of severe diseases. Soil contamination is causing our food to be less nutritionally dense. Last month, the POP spoken word competition organizers challenged primary and secondary school students to employ the creative power of the spoken word to spread awareness about the effects of persistent organic pollutants, or POPs. Amira Claxton, student of the George Moody Stewart School, and Janiyah Hobson of the Baxter High School were victorious. We're excited to have them join us reciting their impactful poems. And we will begin with Amira.
Hi, Amira.
Hi.
Yes. So do you have your poem? Do you remember your poem, Amira, that you won?
Yes, I do.
All right. Could you recite it for us?
Sure. SOS. Stop the POPs. Pops, pops, pops. They are simply persistent organic pollutants. They are quite deadly and harmful contaminants. The effect of these chemicals is really a serious matter. Therefore, avoiding pops should be our goal or answer. Pops are commonly known to deposit their toxins everywhere in our food, our water, the soil, and in the air. Pops cause health issues like allergies, disorders, and cancer. Therefore, avoiding pops should be our goal or answer. Pesticides and solvents are sources, just to name two. We need to plan and together decide what we'll do. We cannot continue to be victims of the pops monster. Therefore, avoiding pops should be our goal or answer. Pops take many years to break down in the environment. Isn't that like a lifetime of suffering and torment? So there is no time to do, delay, or ponder. Let's avoid pops and not to tolerate it much longer. Thank you.
Wow, amazing.
How old are you?
9 years old.
No way.
Wow.
That was so impressive. I think you're going to take my job tomorrow, because you're that convincing. I got to watch that.
So can you tell us, how do you feel about winning the competition?
Well, I was overjoyed. I was excited. I was literally screaming in my head.
I won't ask you to tell me what that sounds like, although I'm tempted to learn. You were screaming. Awesome. Was the poem easy to learn, Amira?
Well, yes. I had to practice a lot. And as I always say, practice makes perfect.
Perfect. Right. Is it the first poetry competition that you've ever entered?
No.
Oh, so you're a boss.
You're professional.
Yes, I am.
Well, I know that. I can see that. Such professionalism coming from this 9-year-old Amira Claxton, Mimi.
So do we have the clip? Do we have the clip that we could look at from the carnival competition? Okay, we'll take a short second and we'll look at a little clip from the competition.
History at 50. 50 years of culture, math, and history. Let's celebrate! In our beloved country, we've seen the many changes of our beauty and talent shows like Miss Singing Kids, So Kamana, and Kaiso. 50 years of culture, math, and history with visitors, friends, and family. Food, drinks, and dancing camps done with Bacchanal Fever, Full Effect, and Inception. 50 years of culture, math, and history would have been nothing without our creativity. Tubes, macadamia, bull, and masquerade. They bring life to any parade. Culture, math, and history at 50 in sweet, sweet Sugar City. Land of culture, energy, and plenty. What an achievement! 50!
Amira. So much professionalism in a 9-year-old's body.
So much confidence and pizzazz.
That's impressive, Amira.
It really is. I mean, so what would you like to do now? Like, you're so great at poetry, you're great at presenting. What's next?
Continue entering other competitions.
Is competing something that you love?
Yes, it is.
Very good, Amira. One final question very quickly. What do you want to be when you grow up?
Well, I want to be a lot of things when I grow up.
That's fine.
And you can be anything.
I want to be a doctor, a babysitter, a teacher, a ballerina, a dance teacher.
So we have quite so long. We'll study. We'll study. When we talk to you in a few months, we'll see where we are with those.
Thank you so much, Amira. It's been a joy talking to you, and we're going to continue to watch your progress. Good luck with everything, and again, congratulations.
Thank you.
We'll be back with more Good Morning SKN in a moment. Stay tuned, everyone.
When growing your savings, where you save matters more than you think.
Self-health management refers to the measures people take to manage their own health. You and I should remember to wash hands often with soap and water, or use alcohol-based hand sanitizer. Avoid touching your eyes, mouth, and nose. Take your temperature morning and evening. Watch for symptoms. Persons with diabetes or hypertension are reminded to take your medication regularly as prescribed. If you have no symptoms, you may carry out your normal routine and boost your immune system. When you are outside, avoid public spaces and wear a mask at all times. If you develop symptoms, put on a mask and seek medical care. Do not take public transportation. Inform the doctor of your travel history, any contact with confirmed or suspected cases, your occupation, and whether anyone around you has similar symptoms. If you become ill, please rest at home. Wear a mask and isolate yourself from others in your household. If you share a bathroom, disinfect daily using 1 part bleach to 10 parts water. Everyone must work together to reduce the spread of the coronavirus.
Bless up, Dejo here, and I'm doing my part in the fight against COVID-19 by following all safety protocols and most importantly, rolling up my sleeve for the vaccine. So I'm encouraging you to do the same because that's our best shot of protecting ourselves, our family, and our friends. So don't wait, vaccinate. Let's roll up to roll out.
It's only just a phase. Once we're vaccinated, and everybody gonna be safe. Everybody gonna be one kind, yeah. One people. We are roll up to roll up, yeah. 'Cause no man's alone. Do what's right, alright. 'Cause I love you, brother, my sister, and we're in this together, my sister, my brother. I don't wanna lose you. I love you too much. I think it's better for us, yeah, yeah. It's better for us. Hey, I don't wanna lose you. I love you too much, yeah, yeah. It's better for us. Tell your mommy to roll up to roll out.
Welcome back to Good Morning SKN, and we just heard an impactful poem from Amira Claxton, the primary school winner, and now we have the high school winner with us, and she seems very excited and confident. Now we'll listen to the lyrical genius of Janiyah Hobson, the secondary school winner, and she went to Bastyr High School, just had to say that. Hi! Hi, Janiyah. I think we may be frozen just for a little bit.
We are frozen like the Disney film. We'll see.
So we may have to take a short commercial break and try to figure out our technical challenges, and we'll be right back.
No cash, no card, no problem. JAD, embrace the freedom.
I'm here to say kids, Nevis, you don't know for us I represent for the Ministry of Health. Yeah. Respect the COVID protocols. In a time like this, all for one for all. St. Kitts Nevis. Don't forget your mask. Wear it everywhere you go. Sanitize before and after everything you do. Cause you never know what's on the surface of the places you go. Maintain a safe social distance between me and you. Keep calm and stay focused. Don't be a fool, seek the facts first and boost your immune system up. Don't wanna lose no more of us. Mask up, sanitize, observe the protocols all about. Be wise, mask up, sanitize, me family fitting boat, and you. Blessed love and greetings. This is Infamous, and I am here to encourage every Kittitian and Nivision to remember that we have our part to play in the fight against COVID-19. So sanitize, wear your face mask, practice social distancing, and go and get vaccinated. For me no know about you, but me love think it's bad. Easy no man.
When growing your savings, where you save matters more than you think. Dare to compare and see for yourself why you should start saving and investing at First Federal Credit Union. You don't have to settle for cents. Let your money make sense. Reap a higher return by stashing your cash in a high-yield savings account or term deposit and earn up to 4% interest on your money. At First Federal, we say yes.
Self-health management refers to the measures people take to manage their own health. You and I should remember to wash hands often with soap and water, or use alcohol-based hand sanitizer. Avoid touching your eyes, mouth, and nose. Take your temperature morning and evening. Watch for symptoms. Persons with diabetes or hypertension are reminded to take your medication regularly as prescribed. If you have no symptoms, you may carry out your normal routine and boost your immune system. When you are outside, avoid public spaces and wear a mask at all times. If you develop symptoms, put on a mask and seek medical care. Do not take public transportation. Inform the doctor of your travel history, any contact with confirmed or suspected cases, your occupation, and whether anyone around you has similar symptoms. If you become ill, please rest at home. Wear a mask and isolate yourself from others in your household. If you share a bathroom, disinfect daily using 1 part bleach to 10 parts water. Everyone must work together to reduce the spread of the coronavirus.
No cash, no card, no problem. Jad, embrace the freedom. No cash, no card, no problem. Jad, embrace the freedom.
And we're back on Good Morning SKN, and we're going to try this interview again. Hopefully the internet would be on our side. So again, we have Janaya Hobson, the winner of the competition. The POPs, remind me what POP stands for.
Yeah, I'll do that in a moment, Mimi. Persistent organic pollutants.
Right, the POPs poetry competition. And she's going to recite that poem for us. Is that possible?
Yes.
Wonderful. Whenever you're ready.
Okay. Say no to POPs. Do you know what persistent organic pollutants can do to you? Do you know what persistent organic pollutants can lead your life to? The long-lasting toxic chemicals adversely affect human health and environment around the world, and stories about these must not go untold. Pop, it's all around us. Come on, world, we need to focus. Parents, let the children know what's going on so we can protect ourselves however we can. Pop, they are causing plenty danger, making people develop immune system suppression and even cancer. It's sad to see how things have changed. People, our actions must be rearranged. Let's find ways to put an end to POP, so all these negative effects can be stopped. Let's educate ourselves about the risks and choices so we all can start rejoicing. Pop, did you hear that? That's me saying that we should stop and be mindful and don't use Aldrin, DDT, Endrin, and Claudine plentiful. Say no to POP. Thank you.
Wow.
I love the ending. It's going to linger with me for a while, Janaya.
So how did you develop your winning poem?
So I use steps in writing a poem. I researched information about the topic because honestly, I was not sure about POPs. And I also watched videos. Then my teacher, he made some small edits.
Oh, wow. So do you write poems regularly?
Pardon?
Do you write poems regularly?
Yes.
Okay.
What's the content of those other poems? Just quickly, Janaya. What other things have you written about?
Different topics, like according to school, we usually write poems as practice.
But this one was like the first major competition you entered?
Yep.
Yeah. I love the way you said that.
Confident. So currently, what is your favorite subject in school?
My favorite subject would have to be communication studies, which is English.
And why is that?
Because it helps open my vocabulary in some parts, especially reading comprehension and composition and stuff like that.
And I bet it helps with your expression as well, as we've seen, right?
Yes, of course.
All right, well, Janaya, it seems as if we are just about out of time. But I do want to thank you for sharing that poem with us. Say no to pops. You see, it's already on my mind. I'll be lingering here. So thank you so much. Congratulations. I know that I'm going to be saying no to Mimi. So keep watching, because I'm going to be saying no to Mimi for this week. We'll see. All right. So all the best to you, Janaya. Thanks so much.
Thank you. Bye.
Bye.
Stay tuned, everyone. We will be back with more of Good Morning SKN.
No cash, no card, no problem. JAD, embrace the freedom.
When growing your savings, where you save matters more than you think. Dare to compare and see for yourself why you should start saving and investing at First Federal Credit Union. You don't have to settle for cents. Let your money make sense. Reap a higher return by stashing your cash in a high-yield savings account or term deposit and earn up to 4% interest on your money. At First Federal, we say yes.
Bless up, Dejo here, and I'm doing my part in the fight against COVID-19 by following all safety protocols and most importantly, rolling up my sleeve for the vaccine. So I'm encouraging you to do the same because that's our best shot of protecting ourselves, our family, and our friends. So don't wait, vaccinate. Let's roll up to roll out.
Yeah, I know we can make it. It's only just a phase. Once we're vaccinated, and everybody gonna be safe. Everybody gonna be one safe. Kind, yeah. One people. We are roll up to roll out, yeah. 'Cause no man's alone. Do what's right, alright. 'Cause I love you, brother, my sister. And we're in this together, my sister, my brother. I don't wanna lose you. I love you too much. I think it's better for us, yeah, yeah. It's better for us. Hey, I don't wanna lose you. I love you too much, yeah, yeah. It's better for us. Tell your mommy to roll up to roll out.
No cash, no card, no problem. JAD, embrace the freedom. No cash, no card, no problem. Jad, embrace the freedom.
Self-health management refers to the measures people take to manage their own health. You and I should remember to wash hands often with soap and water, or use alcohol-based hand sanitizer. Avoid touching your eyes, mouth, and nose. Take your temperature morning and evening. Watch for symptoms. Persons with diabetes or hypertension are reminded to take your medication regularly as prescribed. If you have no symptoms, you may carry out your normal routine and boost your immune system. When you are outside, avoid public spaces and wear a mask at all times. If you develop symptoms, put on a mask and seek medical care. Do not take public transportation. Inform the doctor of your travel history, any contact with confirmed or suspected cases, your occupation, and whether anyone around you has similar symptoms. If you become ill, please rest at home. Wear a mask and isolate yourself from others in your household. If you share a bathroom, disinfect daily using 1 part bleach to 10 parts water. Everyone must work together to reduce the spread of the coronavirus.
No cash, no card, no problem. Jad, embrace the freedom.
When growing your savings, where you save matters more than you think. Dare to compare and see for yourself why you should start saving and investing at First Federal Credit Union. You don't have to settle for cents. Let your money make sense. Reap a higher return by stashing your cash in a high-yield savings account or term deposit and earn up to 4% interest on your money. At First Federal, we say yes.
Self-expression comes in many forms, including paintings, music, sculpting, or poetry, or as we're doing here today, smiling.
Yeah.
So since the dawn of humanity, it has been the way we've shared our thoughts, emotions, and ideas with others. Today, we will be highlighting one form of self-expression in particular, and that is, I'm going to let you say.
Fashion.
You see how she said that, guys? It's not just fashion, it's fat. I can't do that. So, renowned carnival and celebrity costume designer Shandy Lewis hails from the Twin Island Federation of Antigua and Barbuda. He has been making waves throughout the Caribbean region, the United States for a vivacious band, and even China. Wow, great. For over 15 years, he has designed for performers, pageants, and mass bands. His designs have graced television screens on Fox 5 News and the pages of magazines. For Sugar Mass 50, so we're bringing it home now, he captured the title of Best National Dress Designer for Keneen Blanchett's gown. So join us as we welcome the legend, the living legend, I would call you, Shandy Lewis, to Good Morning SKN. Good morning, Shandy. It's great to have you here with us today.
I think it's needless.
I like that.
We're global, so good morning, world.
In time. All right, so let's start with your winning of the National Best Dress Design that was worn by Keneen Blanchett. Walk us through the concept, because I imagine design is an entire process. So conceptually, what was that like when you began to put pen to paper?
Well, designing in general, designing a national dress in general comes with a lot of challenges. Most people would know me as the feather boss, as I like to do pretty costumes with feathers and blah, blah, blah. But when designing a national dress, I have to go into the detailing of getting more creative. So when I was approached to design for Kenny Blanchett, the requirements was a national wear, but they didn't want it in a costume form. So I had to like produce this national wear in the best of my ability. The concept that I came up with first wasn't this actual concept. But when I had that first concept, I was like, you know what? I need to do something better. I need to do something that would wow the audience. So I decided to do the masquerade. The costume in titles was Celebra, Masquerade Queen of Sugar Mass. It wasn't an easy task. Wasn't at all. I mean, most people would know the masquerade comes with different types of fabrics. You know, that's
lots of different fabrics.
Yes. So that itself was a lot of craftsmanship right there. But then again, I know it was the 50th anniversary of Sugar Mass. I mean, besides COVID, it would have been a better carnival, but we had to, you know, work with it.
Yes.
So I wanted to incorporate the 50th anniversary plus make the national dress in a creative way that would wow the audience and the judges. So I decided, let me not make so much of a carnival costume, but a national wear itself. So that's where I tried to go into the getting different fabrics, different color fabrics from bells, mirrors, and it goes on and on.
Mm-hmm.
The
so
creative form.
Sorry.
Go ahead.
No, do you normally make like dresses? Again, I know you again as the feather boss. I have you on social media, so I see all of your great costumes. But do you normally make like dresses?
Yes, I'm an all-rounder designer. I don't just do costumes. So I do swimsuits, I do evening gowns, I do wedding gown. Yes. So I'm like a full course meal.
Ah, I see.
All right. So in speaking to Kanin's national dress specifically, we're walking through the different areas because we have here the headpiece, the shoulder and the neckline, the layered sleeves, and even just categorizing it this way suggests to me that it is a whole lot more than I would say observe with my naked eye, especially through the lens of a fashion designer. So let's begin with the headpiece. Talk about the colors and the fabrics for the costume.
The colors in the costume came about where I wanted to incorporate the national flag of St. Kitts, which has the numerous colors: white, yellow, black, red, and green. So I incorporate all those colors in the headpiece. And I also, as you can see, I also use peacock feathers, which most of us know that the masqueraders have peacock feathers a lot in their headgear. I also incorporated the number 50 in the back of the headdress, where I use fairy lights to highlight it, so it was lit up in the back. But most people would not know it was lit up. Yes. So the mechanics came in that the 50th was actually lighted at the back of the headdress.
Wow.
Impressive.
At the front of the headdress now, you will then see the actual mask of the masquerade that most of us know they wear. Then when it comes down to the actual dress, which is like a two dress combined into one, she had on a yellow underdress, which was made from yellow. And then that's where I made the skirt from the different strips of fabric and mirrors and bells.
So how long does something like this take? And again, you said it depicted the masqueraders, and I know there's lots of as you mentioned, lots of different fabrics, mirrors, a lot of, intricate pieces. How long would something like this take?
It took me less than a week to produce, I must say.
Less than a week.
But less than a week.
That's lots of fabric. That's lots of sewing.
It takes. I know when I was at the last leg of the costume itself, I was probably sewing those strips of fabric from probably 4 o'clock in the day until 4 in the morning.
Wow.
So a week in your world is a whole lot longer for regular folk like me.
Yes. In my world, trust me, I go to sleepless nights. I wake back up in the morning and I just keep going and going and going. I mean, some people on the outside might think this is easy. It's not, because when others are sleeping, we are up making that costume that you want to be.
Right. And I mean, it actually lends itself to our next question because, as you said, it's lots of work. A lot of people think, okay, he's a fashion designer. That must be glamorous and fun and easy. But I only could imagine, even when you're designing costumes for, say, Miami Carnival, like how is that process? I know it's crazy.
For international carnival?
Yes.
It's a lot more challenging because if I have to do the production here in Antigua, then I have to work 3 times earlier than if I'm actually working in the actual carnival itself right there. For most carnivals, I will go to the country and produce the production, which might be easier because, we all know that when you're making a costume in another island, we have to think about freight charges and shipping the cost.
Right.
Yeah. And that's not an easy task anyone want to go through. So that's the most challenging part when I'm producing anything for international market.
So it would appear then that the life of a fashion designer isn't entirely glamorous, but it is rewarding work.
It might look glamorous behind the scene, but it's not actually that easy.
So what inspires you, Shandy? What inspires you generally, but even if we brought it back to your work for the Caribbean, your work with Canaan even, what inspires you?
I'm just a lover of creating anything in general. I would not say anything inspired me per se, but put me into a fabric store or a trimming store and trust me, ideas will flow like 1 to a million.
I wanted to know how did you get into designing globally? You're from another small Caribbean country, Antigua, and now you're designing for places like China. You're designing for costumes in Miami. How did that happen? You're designing costumes in St. Kitts and Nevis and for pageants all around the region. How did that happen?
Most people would know me from my social platform, and I use my social platform as a marketing strategy. When I design something, like say I design something for Miami Carnival, I'm gonna do all my hashtags that everyone around the world will see this costume on social media. And that's how most people would get to know me. For instance, I would have clients come to me from Germany, even Australia, China. And I would be like, sometimes I don't want to ask like, okay, how do you guys get in contact with me or know about me? But I just let it fly sometimes. But most people would say they saw me on social media, they saw something I did, or they saw somebody tag something and they're like, hey, I need to get in contact with this guy. And that's how most people get in contact with me.
Well, Shandy, I wish that we had more time to talk with you, but we know how to contact you. So should we have any other questions, we know where to find you. Certainly this won't be the last time. So thank you for taking the time out to speak with us today.
No problem. It was definitely a pleasure.
Awesome. Best of luck in the future.
Take care.
Stay tuned, everyone. More Good Morning SKN in a moment.
Good afternoon. And to what do I owe the pleasure of your visit today?
Good afternoon. After finding a lump, I visited the health center to see a nurse, and she found a lump as well. Doc, do you think this is the big C? I shouldn't have cancer. I don't drink. I don't smoke. Nobody in my family has ever had cancer.
Slow down, not so fast. Not every lump of the breast is cancerous. The breast goes through a number of changes. It can be a piece of fatty tissue or some other non-cancerous lump of the breast. Either way, I'll have to examine you first to make sure.
Okay. I did not know I was supposed to examine my breast myself.
Yes, the self-breast examination is very revealing. It is the first step in diagnosis. It is important to self-examine your breasts once monthly after you've had your period. That way, you would know how your normal healthy breast feel and be able to detect any changes early. If any abnormality is detected, there are more defining tests such as the ultrasound and or mammogram.
Mammogram? No, I've heard that mammogram thing hurts badly.
I'm sure that most of what you've heard about the mammograms are exaggerated encounters. Here's the referral, take it to the facility. Before the exam begins, you will have to fill out a short pre-test questionnaire. Let the doctor know if there's a possibility of pregnancy. Leave jewelry at home and wear loose, comfortable clothing. Don't wear deodorant, talcum powder, or lotion under your arms or on your breasts, as these may appear on the mammogram and interfere with correct diagnosis. During the exam, each breast is compressed horizontally between two plates for imaging and then diagonally for further imaging as needed. So how was the experience?
It's not what I expected. My teenage sister found a lump in her breast. Should she get a mammogram too?
All lumps of the breast and changes should be investigated. A mammogram is recommended once a year for every woman aged 40 and over, even younger if there's a family history.
OMG, women have to endure a lot.
Men have to check their breasts too.
Yeah.
Yes, some men do get breast cancer too. So remember, get checked today. Early detection saves lives.
No cash, no card, no problem. JAD, embrace the freedom.
You're watching Good Morning SKN. New year, new me is the official statement at this time of the year. Yes, we know that to be true. But while this has become bothersome for many, should I wink here? I'm just kidding. This mindset encourages us not to be complacent. Unfortunately, however, there is a common misconception that this cliche statement implies that the person is expecting some radical personality change from January 1st.
Yes.
Well, this
That's not how it
unfortunately does not magically happen, as Mimi
Right.
rightfully tells me.
Yes.
And in all honesty, many of us struggle to achieve our goals. That's true. It's human, I suppose. Luckily, there are some ways to direct us towards our New Year's resolutions. So this includes the use of a daily planner. Love this. The They Call Her Blessed Inspirational Planner was recently released by Cleopatra Richards. Join us in welcoming Cleopatra to Good Morning SKN. Good morning, Cleopatra.
Good morning. Nice to have you. I've actually been seeing pictures of this planner all over my social media. So I'm really happy to meet the person, meet the actual face behind behind something like this coming from St. Kitts. So planners are typically more prevalent in bigger countries. Like I think this is the first planner I'm seeing, again, made locally by a local person. Can you share with us the idea, like what inspired you to come up with a planner?
Well, basically this came about, and good morning to everyone. This came about based on the fact that I myself couldn't find a planner that suited the needs that I had. So I opted to create one for myself. And this was last year. And in doing so, one of the things that I felt was important was to have quotes every day that inspires you, to have a gratitude corner, because we always have things to be grateful for.
Yes.
And also to have a page put there. That was my biggest issue because I'm a planner.
Right.
So I always need that space to plan on a daily basis. And other planners that you would buy on the market, Amazon, etc.
Very small.
Very small. And you would find sometimes you have like a half a page or 3/4 of a page per day. So that was the idea behind it.
And what about the name, though?
Funny story.
I like funny stories.
Funny story. So I have a friend who is very religious, and there's this Proverbs 31 that speaks about woman. I don't know if you've ever heard anyone mention the Proverbs 31 woman. And she said she found it so difficult to live up to the standards laid out in Proverbs 31. And I said to her, you know, the only thing you really need to worry about is what's in verse 28, which is they call her blessed. And as long as you understand that, then everything else is game. And that's how that came about.
Wow, that's interesting. So, I mean, tell me how you moved from, okay, I'm doing a planner because I need a planner for myself, to, okay, maybe I should get this planner out there and maybe other women would benefit from this planner.
Well,
it's a big step.
Very big step, actually.
Yes.
And this is not the first year. Let me make that clear. Last year was the first year for this planner. So
in the beginning of a pandemic.
Yeah, that is key, because all of us, we were going through something. I myself was going through a lot, and writing helps. So I did this planner. I did the monthly inspiration pieces, and the person, a friend of mine, her name is Margaret, she was helping me to put this together, because I'm not really that good in Microsoft, etc. So in helping me to put this together, I remember upon completing it, we were reviewing, and she started crying, and I was like, what did I miss? What's going on? And she said, you can't keep this to yourself. You have to share it, because there are lots of women who are going through the same things that you're going through. But because we are women and we tend to play heroes, we don't share what we're going through. We smile and we go through it just like nothing happening. And I said, okay, I'll share it with my friends and my family. And I did that. And then it just took off from there.
So it wasn't really your intention.
No,
it wasn't. For you to have this viral planner.
So what was the feedback like initially, and then as you decided to branch out even more?
So last year, for instance, I had women who were crying as well, because they could relate to the monthly inspirational pieces, and they found that the inspirational quotes on a daily basis really were helpful. And believe it or not, they were looking to this year's planner.
Yes.
And that's what kind of fueled me to continue with it.
So in the planner, it has some interesting features. As you said, it has a page instead of like, you know, those small little spaces. It has an entire page per day. It has the gratitude corner. It has a habit tracker and goal setting sections, motivational quotes. So what else does it have? I realize it's pretty thick. It's quite a few pages.
Yeah,
You're right.
I think it's about 395 pages.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, but one of the reasons why it's so thick, besides the fact that it's a page per day, every month there is a section where you write your goals, you schedule what you're hoping to have accomplished by the end of the month. And there's
I already
also,
think that I need one.
there's also the inspirational piece that a lot of people seem to love more than anything else. And in that inspirational piece, there are questions that, you know, thought-provoking questions that you ask yourself. You know, am I really not doing life right? It causes you to wonder a lot. And of course, there are the minute pages like the acknowledgements and the foreword and all of that. So yeah, it's a bit thick, 6 by 9 if I remember the dimensions. But I feel like it's really a good tool to have on a daily basis.
Yes, I'm a writer as well. Like I journal a lot, and again, those planners never did enough for me. I write 3 sentences. That's just me waking up this morning and having some tea. So yeah, I could appreciate.
So I understand that you have a background in accounts and financing. Did any inspiration to create a planner come from there?
None whatsoever.
So divergent.
No, for me, that's like self-care. That's the self-care part of it.
Right.
And when you plan, I feel like when you plan, you're more effective in carrying out your day. And there's this sense of achievement that comes with being able to sit down at the end of the day and say, I did this, I did this.
Yes.
And it shows you, yeah, I can do this.
Correct.
But planning is key. And as she said, she likes journaling.
Yes.
So do I. And journaling is so important for you to get things on paper. And it makes more sense sometimes when you actually
write it down. Correct.
Well, you know, this is so interesting because as we start the new year, your segment to end with planning is actually going to be the way that we end the show today. So you're giving me some inspiration as to what I need to do to plan. And I want to ask you one final question very quickly, which is for the women in my life, how would I obtain a planner if I wanted one?
I have. That's number one. I've made it easier for the majority of the purchasers who are from here to have it. So I brought some in. But for those that don't live here, they can access it via Amazon.
Oh, wow.
It's being sold on Amazon, both the colored and the grayscale copy.
And again, the name.
They call her Blessed 2022.
They call her Blessed 2022. There you have it, everyone. Thank you so much.
You're
Ms.
welcome, and
Richards,
thank
for
you for having me.
joining us for this edition of Good Morning SKN. I'm eager to plan now.
Well, maybe you should get one.
Well, definitely will do. So, you've been watching Good Morning SKN. This is where we leave you for today, but we do want to invite you to join us again tomorrow for another edition of Good Morning SKN, where we will hit the ground running, and me, hopefully, with my new planner, being encouraged by my mother, who I will get. All right. See you tomorrow, everyone. Bye-bye.
Good morning.
Morning.
Good morning.
Good morning, SKN.